So it's my pleasure today to be part of this session, probably for the first time. So welcome friends, Indraji and Sumati ji and the other friend here. So Irena, so over to you. We are curiously looking forward for today's sharing and to learn more from Anastasia's wisdom through you. Over to you.
Thank you. First of all, I greet you all and welcome you. And as we decided last time, our topic today is going to be child care. Well, where does it begin? I think we all know where our soul originates. And I would like to share, I hope you forgive me that I will be reading a lot today, because there's just so much content in these books. I cannot memorize it all. So, referring to the fact that we all take our origin in the non-physical world above the lotus, she says, oh, have I write the right one now? I'm sorry. Give me a moment. I've lost the page. So okay, we are landing now in the mud. The child has landed in the mud, meaning this physical world that we are all living in at the moment. And child care begins in the moment of conception, or even before. It begins in the quality of the relationship between the parents. As we would remember the moment when Vladimir and Anastasia met for the first time, and they were in the glade, in her glade, in the taiga, and she felt very free to take off her clothes, because not all of them, but a lot of them. So she was half naked there in front of him, and he nearly swallowed his brandy the wrong way down. And when he saw her stunning beauty, the perfect features of her face and her body, and as it is with men nowadays, some kind of feeling is aroused, and he got up and walked towards her in the effort to touch her, to hug her, to kiss her. And then something happened which he could not explain. He lost consciousness in that moment. And when he came to, Anastasia said to him, just cool down, okay? So a little taken aback, he tried to cool down. What does it mean? Later, she explains to him that a connection that is born from the fleshly attraction, we call it infatuation in our time, still has the possibility of creating new life. But in this moment, the two people involved are not aware of this. They just go for it. So Anastasia, in her wisdom, puts a stop to this, right? But as both Anastasia and Vladimir have this deep longing to have a son, the second night that Vladimir spends there with her in the glade, he is not having to sleep with the bear. It is instead she climbs into that pit where she spends the night with him, and the inevitable will unfold. But since they both have this deep longing to create a son, the encounter has a very different flavor, a different quality to it. So, yeah, this is the one thing. Then something that you will find that goes through all the books, all her talks, is her postulation to create a space of love. So I dare say that would have to start by loving yourself, by respecting yourself, by knowing yourself, knowing who you are as a human being and what you came down into the mud to do, to accomplish, if anything. And also to see to it that you create a bonding between the father and the mother in order to have a sustainable and reliable, I want to say, nest for the child to feel safe and to be able to thrive in the best possible way, which is something that when we look at our lives in the Western design, many children are born not in a space of love. They are thrown into the mud, not knowing who and what, with a lot of negative history on their backs that they have to sort through, or they suffer it until they fall into the mud again. But we don't want to go down this alley. As we are leaving behind the 6,000 years of patriarchal domination, we are entering into, we have the choice now of entering into a space, a fresh space of love globally. And that means also individually. And that space of love is something that has to be continuously nurtured and ignited, reignited. Well, it goes deeper. Let us remain now with the chosen topic of childcare. Anastasia does not speak about pregnancy, and she does not mention her experience of birthing the two children. But I would like to speak to you, to share to you about, to give you an impression of what her and her people have understood by child care since time immemorial, because her forefathers have lived in this same glade for millions of years, maybe thousands of years, let's say. So yeah, there's something I should read. No, let me start with the right page. So here goes. She talks about the anomaly, she calls it. When we buried Anastasia's parents, she was still very young. Anastasia's grandfather begins. She wasn't yet able to walk or talk. My father and I dug a hole in the ground with the animals' help. We placed branches at the bottom, put the bodies of Anastasia's parents in the hole, and covered them over with grass and earth. We stood there a while on the burial mound without saying a word. Little Anastasia sat in a short distance away in the glade, watching a bug crawling along her arm. We thought it was just as well that she wasn't yet able to be fully aware of the misfortune that had befallen her. Then we quietly walked away. The answer of Vladimir was, "What do you mean? You walked away? You just walked off and abandoned this poor, ignorant little girl to her own devices?" We didn't abandon her. We left her in the same spot where her mother had given birth to her. You have a concept known as Shambhala or motherland. The meaning of these words is becoming more and more abstract. Motherland, that is literally motherland, mother. In anticipation of their child's appearance in the world, parents ought to create a space for him, an environment of kindness and love, and to give him a piece of the motherland, which, like a mother's womb, both preserves the body and caresses the soul. It imparts the wisdom of creation and assists in obtaining the truth. And what can a woman give her child who's born amidst stone walls? What kind of world has she made ready for him? Or has she given any thought at all to the world in which her child is to live? In that case, the world will do with him as it likes. It will strive to subject this little human being onto itself, making him a mere cog or a slave. And the mother will simply become an observer, as she has not made ready for her child any space of love. You see, Vladimir, nature, the nature surrounding Anastasia's mother, the creatures large and small, treated her as they would treat any man who lived the way she did, as a friend, as a wise and good deity, one who had created around her a world of love. Anastasia's parents were happy and kind people. They very much loved one another, loved the earth, and the space around them responded to them with love. Little Anastasia was born into this space of love and at once became its center. Many creatures will not touch a newborn. A mother cat may nurse a puppy, or a mother dog a kitten. Many wild animals are capable of nursing and taking care of human offspring. But these animals have become wild to people in your world. To Anastasia's mother and father, they played quite another role. The creatures treated them entirely differently. Anastasia's mother gave birth to her in the glade, and many creatures were witness to the birth. They saw how the woman they revered became a mother and bore another man, another human being. When they witnessed the birth, their feelings toward their human friend, their love for her, intertwined with their own parenting instincts, giving birth to a new exalted manifestation of light. Everything, absolutely everything in that surrounding space, from the tiniest bug and blade of grass to the seemingly ferocious beast, was ready unhesitatingly to give its life for the sake of that little being. And there was nothing in that surrounding space of motherland created and bestowed by its mother that could possibly have threatened that being. Everything would look after and cherish this human being. To Anastasia, the little glade is literally a mother's womb. The glade is her living motherland, powerful and kind, and inextricably tied by a natural living thread to the whole universe, to the whole creation of the grand creator. So that is why, after burying her parents, we walked away. 3 days later, we were approaching the glade. We felt a tension in the air. We heard wolves howling. Then we saw little Anastasia was sitting quietly atop the burial mound. One of her cheeks was smeared with earth. We realized she had been sleeping on the mound. Tiny tears were streaming from her eyes and falling onto the ground. She was crying noiselessly with only an occasional sob. And she kept stroking and stroking the burial mound with her little hands. She wasn't able to talk, but she did say her first words on this mound. We heard them. At first, she simply uttered syllables. Mama, then Papa. She repeated this several times. Then she added a syllable to each. Mamuchka, Papuchka, Mamuchka, Papuchka. I am Anastasia. I now have you no more. Only my grandpa's. My father was the first to realize it, even as we were burying her parents. Little Anastasia, sitting there in the glade and watching the bug, was fully aware of the whole depth of the misfortune that had befallen her. She used her willpower to refrain from showing her feelings. With her mother's milk, she had been imbued with the wisdom and strength of her pristine origins. Nursing mothers have that capacity, Vladimir, the capacity to pass along to their baby, together with mother's milk, the conscious awareness and wisdom of the ages, right back to their pristine origins. Anastasia's mother knew how to do this and used this method to full advantage. Since Anastasia didn't want us to see her crying, we didn't go out into the glade and did didn't approach the mound, but we couldn't tear ourselves from the spot. So we just stood there observing what was going on. Supporting herself on the burial mound, little Anastasia attempted to stand on her little feet. She didn't do it on the first try, but still she managed to stand up. She stood there swaying back and forth, stretching her arms out a little to each side, and finally took her first timid step away from her parents' grave, then a second step. Her little feet got mixed up in the grass and her little body lost its balance and started to fall. But the fall, well, that was something quite unusual. At the moment she fell, a barely noticeable bluish glow came flooding over the glade and changed the Earth's laws of gravity, just on that particular spot. It touched us too with some kind of mellow languor. Anastasia's body didn't fall, but gradually and smoothly descended to the ground. Once she got up on her feet again, the bluish light disappeared and the normal gravitational field was restored. Are you still all with me? I'll just continue. No response.
Yes, yes.
Okay. With careful and hesitating footsteps, Anastasia went over to a little branch lying in the glade and was able to pick it up. We realized she had started cleaning up the glade, as her mother had done many times. This wee little girl then carried the dry branch to the edge of the glade. But once she lost her balance, began to fall and dropped the branch. During her fall, once more, the bluish glow sparked into life, changing the Earth's gravitational field, and the branch flew over to the little pile of dry branches lying at the edge of the glade. She got up, looked around for the branch, but couldn't find it. Then, throwing up her little hands with shaky steps, she slowly made her way over to another branch. No sooner had she started bending over to pick it up than the branch itself began rising from the ground as though a breeze had blown it to the edge of the glade. But there wasn't enough of a wind around to do this. Some invisible presence was carrying out little Anastasia's desires. But she wanted to do everything herself, as her mama had done. And no doubt, in protest against this help from her invisible ally, she thrust her little hand into the air and waved it gently above her head. We looked up and saw it. Over the meadow, we saw hanging a small spherical mass, pulsating and glowing with a pale blue light. We could see a whole multitude of fiery discharges inside its transparent covering, giving the effect of multicolored lightning. Indeed, it was very similar to large ball lightning, but it was intelligent. We couldn't tell what it was made of and what kind of intelligence we were dealing with. We could feel some kind of unknown and unseen power in it, but there was no sense of fear of this power. On the contrary, it seemed to be radiating a pleasant, languid grace. We didn't feel like moving. We just felt like being. But what made you think it possessed untold power? Vladimir asked. My papa noticed that even though it was a bright sunny day, the leaves on the trees and the petals on the flowers turned in its direction. In its bluish glow, there was more power than in the sun's rays. And it could change the Earth's gravitational field at the moment Anastasia fell, just in the right place and at just the right time. The change was so precise that her body descended smoothly, but yet was not torn away from the earth. She spent a long time collecting branches. Sometimes she would crawl, other times walk all over the meadow with slow steps until she had cleared them all away. And the fiery sphere, still pulsating, hovered over the wee little one, but it no longer helped her pick up the branches. The powerful fiery sphere seemed to understand the gesture of the little hand and obeyed it. Expanding and dissolving in space, contracting and producing internal discharges like flash bulbs of some kind of energy from God knows where, the sphere would momentarily disappear and then reappear as though it were somehow excited. And this excitement caused it to sweep through space at incredible speed. The time came when Anastasia normally lay down to sleep. We never compel our children to sleep, rocking them back and forth until they become dizzy. At this time, Anastasia's mother would simply lie down herself in the usual spot and pretend to doze off to show her child by example. Little Anastasia would crawl over to her, snuggle up against her warm body, and peacefully fall asleep. And this time, Anastasia went to the spot where she was used to sleeping during the day with her mother. She stood and looked at the place where she had always slept with her mama at this time. But now, there was no mama around. It was not clear just what she was thinking at that moment. Only once again, a tiny tear glistened in a sunbeam on Anastasia's face. Right away, the bluish glow came pulsating across the glade, flashing at irregular intervals. And so it goes on and on and on. But I realized that I have taken almost all the time. So I want to give you a chance to respond, to ask whatever comes to mind. And yeah, let's have a bit of sharing now, if you will. Hello? Are
Yes.
you all there? Are you awake?
Yes, Irena. We have Madhavi. Yes, Madhavi, please go ahead.
Hi, Irena. Good to see you.
Hi, I don't see
Hi,
you.
how are you?
There you are. I'm good.
Yeah, after a long time.
So the Madhavi that I got to know. That's
Yes.
okay. Hi.
It's me. Hi.
Great.
It's wonderful.
Great.
Thank you so much for this book. I really want to order this book, but I'm not in Amazon. It is too expensive. Do we
Yes.
have any link or PDF form or so that I can read on?
Yes.
Simultaneously, whenever you're saying, I can also read it faster then.
Can we do this at the end? I
Yes.
wanted to know now first, what is your what kind of feeling does it arouse in you, the sharing of this unusual way to bring up a child? I mean, she was not even 2 years old.
Yes, actually, what I felt is when the kids are in the nature, I think nature will take care of them anyway, like the animals. I mean, I was also put on the same way like that. When I was very young, they just used to leave me in the ashram or maybe in the garden or like that. And I never had a fear of insect or snake or anything. So, but because the nature pampers the kid, that's what I feel. And it is very nice when you were reading this one. So I feel that nature will take care of the child. And I have experienced that, and I can understand with Anastasia very well. Yeah.
How wonderful for you that you have experienced that.
Yes.
But would you, I want to ask you a question, would you do the same thing with your child
Yes,
now
of
in
course.
this world, now here that you are in Heidelberg?
I love
and
to.
very different environment. Okay, well, there are no wild beasts, no dangerous animals.
Yes, everything is there, but the nature will take care. All the danger is, just imagine the snakes were crawling besides me.
You don't
Everybody
get
is
my questions, but okay.
I would love to.
Okay.
If I have a chance that my child needs to be in that atmosphere, I have no fear of sending to that dangerous forest or the dangerous animals, because the nature will take care of that. And she is also like that. She will not harm anyone, not even the spiders. When I take the spider web, she says, Mama, they are just living with you. Come on, what are you doing? So I can understand that. I love
Great.
to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ramji.
Vindhyaji, yes, please go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Ramveer. And thank you, Irena, ma'am. It's wonderful. I wouldn't miss your sessions. I joined a little late, but I love the way you read the story. You have that tone, you have that childish, voice and everything. It's beautiful. I too tried to get this book. I live in US, so Barnes and Noble, but they didn't have these copies. So I'll try to check again online. But I'm excited. I don't know which book to get. There's so many, but maybe I can start with the one or two. But I am enjoying, and you are right. The way you explained about how Anastasia, the few things that are mentioned when she's crying, she doesn't want anyone to see that she's crying, and they respect that. That is so beautiful. We don't respect the children. They want to feel strong, and they want to show that they can do it too. We are always trying to protect them and be there and pamper them. So that was beautifully shown. And even how, though blue light or not, whatever that was protecting, basically Mother Nature, or maybe her parents itself, spirit, is protecting her. So we should trust, having that trust in Mother Nature, and that we are taken care of, and our children. Maybe when I have chance to bring my grandkids up, I'll do that, because my kids are grown now. But definitely, it's a beautiful feeling not to be afraid, and let the child grow and learn on its own. Obviously, if there is some fire or hot surface, then I remember my son when he was small. We had a fireplace and it has a glass covering. And before we realized, he went and touched it. And obviously it burnt. But he learned from then on, he would not go and touch. So they have to learn. It is sad that he got hurt, but then they learn. So,
but it's life, we all get hurt.
I know.
And then we learn.
So, yeah, thank you. Beautiful
so
narration.
much.
And even the sleeping, you're right. I used to rock my babies to sleep, take them in the car ride or somewhere, somehow, to get them to sleep. But I love the way, you naturally sleep, and they will watch you and they'll do it. And it maybe not the first day, but slowly it becomes a habit. So thank you. Thank you for pointing.
I think, the life in our present world and all the circumstances that we are stuck in, or we're not stuck in, but we are in, sometimes prevent us from doing the right thing, but this is why I can only really advise everyone to read these books. It's like a fire that's caught me, and they are so rich and so full in content that we have moved very, very far away in our Western life design, and I'm sure that Ram will, at the end, he will give you a link where you can get the books. I think it was $20 per one. That makes it altogether 200, not as opposed to 800. And I advise you to get them all, because the thing with these books, it's not like she writes in sequence, topic after topic after topic. No, it all goes crisscross, because actually it's not she who's writing, it's Vladimir. And of course, he is heavily triggered by this stark contrast between his own upbringing and beliefs and her what she shares to him, and she's, she does not prevent him from getting triggered. She just continues, and he gets so ruffled at times that it's really, he gets completely out of himself, which is understandable. But when he takes time to think over everything, and he goes and researches over everything, he finds that yes, what she has shared, it is true, and so they have lived as parents far apart from each other, but he would come again and again and visit and learn more, and then write these books. And these books are full of amazing insights that are important for everybody in our today time, that we are at a very decisive, what should I say, turning point as a humanity and as a whole. I don't know if you're aware of it, but she puts her finger right into it and makes us aware, what's going on.
Yeah, thank you. I even joined the podcast you shared last time, and there was so much. I was listening to it, and so much discussion about book 4, book 5, and about the Vedas, and I was really intrigued, and I wanted to get the book. So thank you for.
Please do get inside, get yourself immersed in the fire of Anastasia.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, Varnaji, please.
Yeah,
Hi.
thank you, Irene.
Hello.
Thank you for sharing this beautiful book and bringing us the wisdom, and also that gives a thought process to connect to our current lifestyle and the current arena. So for me, I think if we are a meditator, if we are in awareness, our nature will guide us. So when to be attached with the kid, or when to be there with the kid, or when to not to be there, all those things, that awareness brings us what to do. I know we may not bring up our child the way Anastasia did, because our circumstances are different and our environment is different, and we don't need to do that also, because we need to go with the flow. So to me, with the current situation, I think everyone has to meditate, and even sending a kid to the college is the biggest problem, the biggest issue going on right now.
Yeah.
They don't attach, they're always following the kid, and they always watch their, where they're going, like Instagram. They think like kids are too much into Facebook, Instagram, but actually parent is not knowingly. So if we are meditated, then only we know how to attach, when to detach, how much to be there in their life, how much to give them freedom, and what is your role as a parent. So that's my awareness. Everybody's child grows differently, and we all bring our own lessons to learn. So when some kids born, they are extremely crying babies, right? We see, and they are gods. And why some babies cry and some babies are so peaceful. because it's all they came to your life to teach you something. So if the baby is too much crying, don't think that yes, nature will take care and I have to do my own thing, let them cry, right? So you need to go and nurture that baby and give whatever she needed, because that awareness, if you need to give or you need to get, even if you are not a meditator, if you are like kind enough, you are good qualities, then that also will bring that awareness automatically. So from my baby, when she was child, she's a crying baby extremely. Then now, but not knowingly, not knowingly, I think my nature, I took care of her 100% of the time. She always have chosen me to be with me. I would not sleep. If I put her on her bed, she would wake up and again cry. So I would just sleep holding her baby in my lap, and I never felt a painful situation. I always so happy to keep my baby calm, not crying. But it was very struggling, even though everybody were there around, but she wouldn't go to anywhere. So now thinking back, I thought maybe that is the lesson, or those are the qualities maybe, I need to display. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank
So
you.
beautiful. Yeah, thank you.
I think, of course, meditation is a powerful tool, but also we need to read books to inform ourselves, to expand our knowledge about things. And well, what I want to say, I've read thousands of books, and the books that contain everything that is important in our life are the books about the teachings of Anastasia, I can say. There's
Correct.
nothing
Yeah,
that
I
goes
agree.
beyond it. I mean, you cannot read all the libraries of the world, but her books are the library of the world. In a nutshell, she puts everything so concise, and she brings us back to our origin.
I agree with you. I agree with you, and I don't think anybody accidentally go and pick those books. Whoever meant to understand those books, those can only go, and those people only are ready to read those. Because I have seen, Bhagavad Gita, so many people would be reading Bhagavad Gita like 10 years, 20 years, but they don't have the understanding same that people who meditate, the simple things. So I think you need to aware more, understand more, and just not the read book, but be aware of the surroundings and see if we are practicing
Thank you.
that wisdom. So thank you.
So before I close, I would like to read one last thing that is, well, like an essential information, and that's what it says. All essential information has been included in man, in every man, meaning every human being, right from the start. All of it. It is something he is given on the day of his creation, just like arms, legs, hair, and a heart. All the teachings of the world, along with all discoveries, are taken exclusively from this source. Just as parents try to give their child everything, so the grand creator gives everything to each one right off. Nothing man-made, not a multitude of books, nor the latest computers and the computers of the future, all taken together, can ever encompass even a part of the information contained in a single man. One has only to know how to use it. Amen, I say. That's the final word. Yeah. Ramji, will you please post the
I have shared the links of the books in the chat.
yeah, from the Anastasia Foundation thing from Gabriel, no?
Correct, correct. Both of
Yeah.
them are there.
Cool.
2 links are
Right.
shared. So you can easily find all the books of Anastasia in these 2 links. The second one you can directly purchase as well. The other one as well has the ebooks. So good.
Perfect.
So thanks a lot, Irena. You know, it was beautiful to go back to those memories as I read those books, I think 2 years ago. And how beautiful, you know, the freedom with which Anastasia started to live her life as a very young kid.
Mhm.
So your question, do we do now with our kids? How much are we ready? In that question, I see various layers. The first layer is,
Sure.
for me, how much of belief system and fears are we incorporated within our own self? We have to become aware of that. We have to become conscious of that. And this part is not just about if we can let our kids out to live in nature, but as well, when we look through these layers of what belief systems, what fears are we, let's say, taking with us in our day-to-day life, we ourselves become part of Anastasia, a free way of thinking, a free way of living, a free way of connecting to everything, to everyone, to everything, and particularly one's own self. So, and then, yes, so when one experiences freedom, they will allow others as well by nature, naturally, to experience freedom. So, I think all these wisdom, all these, let's say, stories that you are sharing from the life of Anastasia will trigger these, you know, in the last, just now you have shared that all these are in every human being, in every man. So I'm sure all these things are going to be awakened within each one of us listening these stories, everyone who connects to these books, because that is the purpose. That is what is where we would all, you know, we would really do the right things by arriving there. Yeah. So
Very
thank you.
true. And I want to add something, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
In my time in Nigeria, in the bush of Nigeria, like something like 40 years ago, I experienced that, a life like this, where everyone is respected as a complete being, complete with everything. And I was also triggered or shocked when I saw what children are doing. Like small children make a fire with kerosene, you know. They pour kerosene on the wood and woo, the fire goes off. And it's small children, Yani. But I think the key to this whole issue is the faith in yourself and the faith in that grand, unfathomable power that has created us and everything else. Because that mind was having a vision. He had a vision, you know, an image of how he wanted it to be, or she, you know. And somehow we lost the path on the way. But we can find it again.
Yes, yes. You know,
We're on our way.
Yes, exactly. And that which is with us always, sooner or later, will be connected back. So
Yeah, but we have to sweep a lot of stuff away.
yes, yes.
No? Big
Yes,
broom
exactly.
we need.
Yeah. It's like we are kind of playing a peekaboo with our own inner self.
Yes, 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 yes. We are. So true.
Yeah. So yeah, beautiful. And as well, how much, there was a particular statement, very beautiful, when Vladimir asked the grandparents, so did you leave her alone?
Yeah.
Or what was that, lonely or something? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they left her alone with this situation.
yes.
And he was
So
shocked.
yes, and then they respond, no, we did not. Oh yeah, did you abandon her? That was the statement. So you see, that statement
Exactly.
carries enormous understanding on how we generally, our thought processes.
Yeah.
Did you abandon? You see the word. And
Yeah.
then the response is, we let her alone. We did not abandon her.
Exactly. That's a big difference.
Yeah. So there is a lot to learn, although they
Very
just
much.
seem to be very colloquial way of talking, conversation. Yet each statement carries a lot for us to, just
think through.
contemplate. Yes.
Yeah.
Very beautiful it was. Thank you.
So I want to ask one last question, and that is, should we just continue this? Because I mean, childcare, there is so much in it, right?
Yes. We do it next week, right?
Next week, same place, same time.
Same place, same time.
Yeah, I will just continue on this topic. Okay.
Super.
Everybody online with this?
Thank you, Irene. Thank you so much for bringing your understanding, your wisdom to us so we can also learn from you and book. Thank you.
I'm very grateful to be here with you all, really.
Yes, thank you, Irena. We are good with parenting and the way you are explaining. Thank you.
Blessings to you all. Take care of yourself.
Thank you. Thank you, Irena. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Irina.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Yeah.